Twitch. And we're live. Hi, it is Sunday, 6:45 p.m., January 27, the year of our Lord, 2019. Hey, Adwell. And I'm going to recap everything. The last time I streamed was Monday. I was also doing monotonous work there. I was wrapping up some starting scenes. I still have a lot more of those to do. Progressing throughout the week, I think on Tuesday I got I got our first asset from I got the first kind of like leveler asset from outsourcing, and it was this. Actually, that's not true. The first one I got was not this. The first one I got was this one, which I talked to them and they had modeled all the, like, they actually went through and modeled the little knob here and everything, and I was mentioning that I was kind of stressed out, that I want them to simplify it. They drew on these lines after the fact. I felt like we were completely losing the style because we didn't have these lines. And I urged them to simplify it, and they took it down partway to about here, and then all the way back down to this, which I think is actually a bit too far, and I think we need to pull back a bit. But this is a 3D asset. I have the model for it and stuff. I think we're going to end up somewhere in between. I think we're going to end up with a look that's somewhere between this, and I could explain why, but in general, I want more detail to be on the top. I like the amount of detail we have on the top of the level here, the part you actually play on. I kind of like the shading. I think I've encouraged them to, rather than try to texture every asset, to create the assets with basic shapes and use cards to have the shading so that we can really easily move the shading around. I think once we start building the levels, we're going to find we want to have those scribbles be across more than just one asset and so forth. So we're just kind of reworking that entirely, and that was something that started on Tuesday, and it was a conversation Tuesday and Wednesday and so forth. Another thing I did was on Wednesday, I took, let's see if I can find it. So one thing they had set aside for that week was this was them trying to spec out what does the entire world look like. I took this and I kind of, they had these colors in here to kind of figure out what each area's theme was going to be. But I flattened it. I wanted to really think about what the entire game looks like again, because it's been a while. And I was never a fan of the UI work we were doing before. I felt like I didn't give very good direction, and what we had was not fitting in with the game. It didn't have any kind of, the vibe was way wrong. So I just took a day and I took a stab at it. Like, what would I do? I took that rendering that they had done, I turned it blue, I moved a lot of things around, and I just did a quick shot of like what I would do if I was going to take the current UI and move it and just up-res it, upscale it, see what I could make it look like. I kind of want to get rid of, they have this idea that the curtain isn't floating anymore. If you looked at their picture, not this one, but the concept artist was working with this, the idea that the curtain kind of lays back over a bunch of invisible levels. I would have liked that more if there were actually levels I had planned there, but I don't. So I think I want to cut that. I want to move towards something else. And I encouraged them, I did this drawing on Wednesday, spoke to them on Thursday, and they were going to spend Thursday and maybe Monday morning before I wake up, because they're in the UK, reworking the temple here and thinking about how a curtain could drape over these kind of pillars and things and what that'll look like. So that was a whole conversation. Wow, I'm already losing my voice. I haven't spoken to a human being in a while. Yeah, so basically I spent Wednesday making this and giving this to them and having a conversation about just the high level direction. And my buddy Joe got in contact with me last week, and he said that somebody dropped a contract at Effectsville and they could give me a special rate for 1 or 2 effects if I want anything done super quick. So I'm gonna have him, I wrote up a bunch of stuff that I want for the fog machines, like what I want the fog to look like. And I'm gonna get Effectsville to do that, which I'm really excited about. So that takes us up through Thursday. Mostly that actually takes us right to Friday. On Friday, I started getting serious about, I'm confident that we're going to hit I'm confident now that they're going to make the assets roughly the way I want them to look. I think starting next week we're going to roll 2, maybe even 3 modelers into starting to model levels. Right now what I have them doing is the concept artist is redrawing the temple, and I do have one modeler taking what I did here when I modeled out these first 3 levels and just applying some basic shading to it. Like right now these levels, one thing I didn't really finish them. Whoopsies. I didn't really finish them, and they could use some... I just want to see what it looks like with some lines, maybe some lines for shading and different things. I want them to take just these first 3 levels and do them right, basically. So I have a modeler doing that. Yes. What I did was, it's time to... Most of the game is still in my, what do you call it? Kind of broken up state that I had it in. Where I initially laid down... It's basically the blocking. Like most of the game is still blocking, and it's blocking in a way that nobody else can really work with. So like, here's... Oh, sorry, excuse me. Some of this I've moved over. But like, these are the blocks that make up a level, and what I've been doing is painstakingly exporting them, cleaning them up slightly, creating the FBX, creating so that each one of these levels is one static mesh, like this, so that the modelers have a chunk of the world to work with at any given time, and just turning the world into a series of pieces rather than I don't know what to call this. This thing that they can't work with. So I've been taking these from the game, exporting them, cleaning them up, turning them into FBXs, bringing those FBXs into a master Maya file so I can see what we actually have. And another thing I've been doing is filling in... I don't think I like the idea of the fog coming up everywhere, and I've never had a good plan for what happens beneath the Z-plane. So I'm just going to have there be more assets down here. So I've actually started chunking up some of the areas, like this is a... Excuse me. This is a level, but like this is not. Here's all the areas that are not a level that are kind of around this, and I just need the modelers to do something here. I don't know what, just have more assets basically. So there's a period of figuring out what that is. There's a period of like just a lot of cleaning up level design stuff. How does this area work? When you get down there, this pops up and these pop down, and making sure things actually look polished and good is a whole thing I've been working on. So yeah, this is a huge pain in the ass. I've been doing it for the Friday, Saturday, and all of today, and now I'm tired. So I'm streaming. And let's see who's here. Hey Marcos. Hey Major Tempo. What's up, man? Hey Dasan. It's 1 a.m. Where are you then? Let's see. So 5 hours ahead would be the UK, so that'd be 7. Okay. So you're further than the UK, just by a bit. You've probably told me before. Am I going the right direction? Yeah, it's 1 a.m. The UK, in London, I think it's midnight. I don't want to work anymore, guys. Well, if I was productive, Ninja, I wouldn't stream. I would keep being productive. But I've run out of... Like, I just kind of let YouTube run. Like, I put on stand-up and I let that run for 2 days. And don't get me wrong, it's been a fun 2 days, but I think I need a break from comedians. I think I'm out of the good content. I'm starting to get, like, the compilation videos where it's rerunning. Germany, yeah. Yeah, Dasan, this was a solo project. Like I said earlier, I'm hiring... The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm hiring a modeler and a concept artist. Like this, I tinted this blue and stuff, but the concept art wasn't mine. You can see the point like I'm basically rolling a team on now, and I'm giving them direction. I don't know what to call it. It's not a solo project anymore. Kind of wounds the pride a little, but the game will be so much better. I can't do this alone. I'll be a game director. I don't know how titles work. Am I putting this on the Switch? I don't know. I have difficulty. I want to simultaneously, I don't know. The Switch, I think I will, but most likely not at the same time as it comes out on PC, just because Nintendo doesn't seem to care if you come out on PC first. Whereas Sony and Microsoft might get grumpy if you come out on PC first. Thanks, Dasan. It's been a lot of work. It's been fun though. So you want to see the process. So before, this was all hand laid out. Now I've got to chunk it up and export it. And I think what I want to get done tonight, because I've chunked up almost all of this half of the map. And it's all in static meshes in Maya that they can just edit. And they can go and like turn my gray box, my blue box, whatever you want to call it, into like a world, right? They're in the process of doing that now. But I need to give them reasonable chunks. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to finish... Tonight I want to finish up this area. And then over the next week I want to finish up the map. And then I want to get them all to be the same Z height, which is just going to be going through and reworking the whole world. So we have a global floor. Because not having a floor has actually been kind of a problem. Yep. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Also got the problem of like, yeah. I'm going to fill in all this tonight. So, I think a lot of these tools I wrote on stream, like select all actors with the tags, will just take, if I have something selected, because I use the tagging system to take a bunch of static meshes and say these are all part of a level. You can't actually, there's no way in Unreal to query what level a static mesh is in. So for a level, I just tagged every asset that belonged to a given level. And then I wrote a script now that will take everything I've tagged. If whatever I've selected, it'll grab everything else with that tag. So let's do that. And this is Art Tester 5. You're going to be forms, whatever. Okay. Forms art filler. So I'm calling these little bits that are in between the levels that I don't really have anything to do with, just art filler. I want to be able to see things while I do this. Ugh, not me. I don't want to see me. Where are they at? Okay. So Hey, didn't I write a script at one point? Like some weird deja vu. I swear I wrote a script at some point that like automated what I'm doing right now, and I'd forgot until just this moment. Hey Ahmed, what's up, man? If there isn't, let's just write one, because you know what? I'm not even halfway through this. List. Okay, that'll delete, and then how about one that commands.list selected equals true. Main, call it main object. Oh, for fuck's sake. There's no protection here for the atomic. If only. My audio guide just pinged me. What the shit? everybody get OpenVPN. But what if you had thousands upon thousands of cold computer calculated proc gen levels? You know, I was surprised. Marcos made like an amazing puzzle game that was proc gen. I was shocked that it was proc gen. Pretty recently. What was it called? Dis Pontibus. I kind of highly recommend it. Really broke me. Yeah. Oh, you played, of course, partly. I'm sorry. You're in the Discord. I couldn't believe that was proc gen. That was really good. Come on. Yeah, I was surprised by that. That's scary. It's not enough the AI are taking our jobs. Now Marcos is going to randomize or randomly generate our games. Had in a little machine learning. Nothing is sacred. What do I call you? 2 arms. God damn it. Yeah, the wall isn't going to stop the AI. It's true. Mexico needs to build a wall against us. That's probably why they're paying for it. Maybe he had some foresight with that one. Silicon Valley's the real threat here. On the one hand, you don't want to be a Luddite. You don't want to be afraid of, like, technology advancing. There's always going to need to be people that control the technology. There's no reason to ever be afraid of something like that. But on the other hand, it's like, holy shit. The ramifications of self-driving cars, of everything that's coming online slowly but surely, is kind of terrifying a little bit, right? I mean, it's going to require... I mean, the world's changing really quickly in a lot of ways. The thing I think about a lot is how much people are working. If you look at trends, people are working from home and working from different locations more and more and more, right? So what does it matter where you live in the world, what country you belong to? I mean, there will always be places where people want to live because they've got family there and connections and stuff. But in reality, a lot of this becomes moot once you have such an incredibly global and mobile workforce. Every time I slouch, you guys need to yell at me until I stop slouching. I'm getting back pain. Self-driving cars will eliminate Uber drivers. There's more than that too. There's just Uber kind of went around the law in a huge way. Uber is an incredible case study of what happens. So there's laws about like tokens and I could go into it. In Boston, it was incredibly shady and it was a very corrupt system. But in order to have a taxi in Boston, you had to have like a token, right? And Uber just kind of went around. We had these laws for reasons, right? Like you need tokens because that if you were part of the system where the government was tracking you, then they could stop you if you discriminated against people or whatever. Uber completely went around that. When Uber came out, they ignored the token system. They didn't play by the law. They pissed off a lot of people. And now we have a system where there's nothing to stop a driver from just not picking up people of color. Like there's nothing anybody can do about that, right? You kind of just have to count on the companies rather than on the government. And this goes back to basically you have one of two options. You either trust in your companies and you hope your programmers do the ethical thing and are as ethical as possible, or we need our government to understand technology and be willing to make laws for things like Uber. Yeah. I would say that's probably a lot. Like capitalism requires a couple of checks here and there. We need some kind of regulation. I think it's laughable that people are talking about how we need our programmers to study ethics. Like, that's nice. But I think at the end of the day, we need our politicians to understand technology. I think that would be a much safer bet. The fact that our politicians can't operate a fucking BlackBerry is a pretty bad sign, in my opinion. When our politicians describe the internet as a series of tubes, I really don't feel a great deal of comfort. But, or a little bit of, I mean, both is good too, Tanishian. I'm just saying, in a capitalist society, you don't rely on people to be ethical. You create laws and you let everybody play by the same rules. You have more faith in programmers learning ethics. Yeah. You know, in Germany, a lot of their engineers are, a lot of their politicians come from an engineering background. Whereas in America, they come from like a legal background. And I think that says a lot about what we value. Like our politicians are really good at talking and understanding the law, but not maybe so great at... I think in general, there's going to be a new field that needs to come up that's somewhere between economics and technology, which is a Venn diagram you don't see a lot of people studying. Because there's some confusing middle ground that's springing up right now, where technology has the ability to completely circumvent our laws and is becoming so much a part of our lives and is pushing into every imaginable sphere. I don't know. I just feel like there's something missing here. Like, there's some field of study we should have more of, probably. I don't know what it is. In the meantime, yeah, it would be cool if our programmers learned ethics, but it would also be cool, you know, if everybody understood technology a little bit better and was a little bit more conscientious about what the future might be. But I mean, it's unknowable right now. The world is changing so fast. And the workforce in general is so mobile. And at some point, when people can work from anywhere, and it's so easy to move, there's very little keeping us to the country we currently live in. For the profile, didn't I send them that? Sorry. It just so happens that my audio person at 7 p.m. on Sunday decided to set up Perforce. for the first time. Which is good. But I want to keep him working. Whoops, let's not send that. Oh, I didn't send the profile. My bad. It'd be better if I understood a little bit about technology. That would be neat. If you let them understand the internet, they'll censor it in no time. Dude, I'm more concerned that they'll censor it either way. We need younger politicians. Possibly younger. Yeah. That wouldn't hurt. Or just whatever it takes. I don't know if I'm a fan of the Twitter fighting shit, but yeah, Dasan, it's terrifying if you think about it. Like, there's a cutoff. People who are born, I don't know what the age is, but it's something around the age of 25. If you are under the 25 or younger, somewhere around there, your dominant finger is your thumb. Like, we're changing as a species because of technology. Whereas if you're older, your dominant finger is your index finger. I don't know how they studied that. I just saw that on Reddit the other day. Which is nuts. It's not even thinking about like the way our brains are adapting to the different kind of interfaces we have and stuff. What's happening? I assume your legitimate rant is triggered. Am I ranting? Sorry. No, I was just chatting with people in the chat. I think we started out talking about Uber. I'm not mad about it. I don't have a solution. I just see that like the world is changing quickly and there's a lot of open questions right now, and we definitely have a instead of people, like the ideal thing would have been for the taxi tokens if people said, hey, this was corrupt and we figured it out legislatively, right? But instead Silicon Valley just was like, here's Uber. Which is a way, but it does mean that if tech companies can circumvent our laws, then that's maybe not ideal. Most people who are clueless about tech and computers are willfully ignorant. They choose to throw their hands up and not deal with it. Yeah, well, you know, I look forward to that day. I don't know when it'll come. I think it's going to be like maybe when I'm 40 or something. I'm just going to be like, I'm done with learning. I'm done. I have my process. I will be following the current process until I'm dead. Had it. It's not worth it anymore. Sounds like fun. Sounds relaxing. Just be like, the next generation will figure it out. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, you can still learn things at 80 if you want to. I'm just saying that I'm personally not going to. I'm going to cut it off at some point. I'm gonna be like, nah, man, I'm done. There's enough of this. Kind of look forward to it. Just be... Some people look forward to being angry and crotchety. I look forward to just being ignorant. Like, yo, I can't operate my toaster. I'm gonna need other people to toast my toast. You put smart toasters in my house, and now I'm done. You'll get bored with what you're doing and learn something else. Yeah, but I won't consider that learning. That's the trick. When you love what you do, you don't really think of it as like forcing yourself to learn. Because I'll tell you, like, I don't enjoy trying to operate an Apple device. I think I'm done with those. I'm done with those already. Trying to use my friend's iPhone. I gave up on that. I was like, hopefully this iPhone thing doesn't catch on. That was me 10 years ago. Still really hoping on that one. Ray Bradbury. What was I doing? Yes. Okay. We forms? I think we are. Oh, I already did it. What the hell am I doing here? Anything that is in the world when you're born is normal and ordinary and is just the natural part of the way the world works. Anything that's invented between when you're 15 and 35 is new and exciting and revolutionary, and you can probably get a career in it. Anything invented after you're 35 is against the natural order of things. Is that the cutoff then, 35? Interesting, I only have to make it a couple more years and then I can start getting vexed. I don't know. I've always found the simpler things more revolutionary and exciting than the more complicated things. Like I'm way into the one-button checkout on Amazon. To be fair, I tried the VR blueprint thing and that is nauseating. I don't know why anybody would work like that. So you got me there. So what the hell? Art filler. Environment levels. That's where I'm confused. Hey, Abandoned Sheep, Happy New Year. Yeah, they have a way to edit blueprints in VR. They've got like a whole thing, dude. I thought that's what we were talking about. Went from the UK to Australia. Yeah, that changing seasons in the middle of the year would definitely throw me. Well, they say something about being able to work in 3D space will change how we work and stuff. Just possible, who knows? Yeah, that is the one thing it would require a lot more space in offices and stuff. Which is one thing I'm not sure we have. I think. Yeah, it's hard to say. I used to think that with AR, we would change how we lay out our houses. I used to think we would move towards if you can structure, like imagine you're always walking around in AR glasses, right? You can kind of just always have apps pinned to the walls in different places, like have a cookbook over your oven and that sort of thing. And so what you would want is a lot of blank white walls so you could always be throwing things on them, right? I imagined with AR you'd kind of want to structure your space differently. Like a 3DNA. I don't know what that is. Get a projectors in every room like a light fixture. True. There's different ways to achieve this. The problem is I think the problem with AR was always the interface. Like, I played around with the HoloLens years ago, and they had this kind of thing where you would track and then click, and I kind of eventually got used to it. You just kind of keep your fingers in your peripheral vision and click like this. Microsoft invested a lot of money into the HoloLens, specifically, and a big part of their concern was how do we get the interface to be right, so that people don't need some weird thing like they tend to have in VR. But the HoloLens has kind of disappeared. Yeah, they basically they took everything they learned from the Kinect and embedded that in the HoloLens at one point. They're trying. Yeah. Microsoft does a lot of interesting, innovative stuff. It just hasn't quite hit yet. I don't know, man. They don't seem to stick to a plan. And maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have a bad plan, sometimes you gotta pivot, but I feel like they pivot twice a year. And I feel like they're chasing what other people are doing a lot of the time. And the one time they weren't was the HoloLens, and I haven't heard shit about it. I thought it was cool years ago when I played it, but I don't know. It kind of fell off the radar. you know, you laugh, but it's those military contracts, Plenner, that'll get it done. The next generation sensor for the HoloLens was announced this year, so they're still doing stuff with it. Good. All these devices cost $2,000 USD. I mean, it's gonna... I don't know. The VR stuff cost a lot too, and it only ever went to hobbyists, but I feel like... yeah, fair enough, Leonard. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the solution here. I always thought there was something in AR. I always thought, like, if the tech is too cool, it's going to exist. Maybe it's just too complicated and we're trying to jump too far too fast. And maybe there was something that was simpler, that like some half step we were supposed to take first. I'm not laughing, I'm screaming and shaking because the future is scary. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting too. Yeah. It's hard to say. I can't even think about 10 years from now. I can barely think past like 2020. And it's weird how everything moves so quickly and so slowly at the same time. Like, AR and VR are huge. And I don't think they're going to go the way of 3D TV. I think there's something there that's going to stick. And I think it's AR, but I don't know how yet. And it does feel like it's moving at a snail's pace. And I feel like most of the major leaps forward tend to be things that are not super big and complicated. They tend to start out very, very simple. I don't know. It's fun to think about, though. I think the new thing to be afraid of lately is machine learning and AI and that sort of shit. Another thing nobody ever talks about is 3D printing. Like, all the people, back when I was in college, the cool thing was to like build your own computers and stuff, and that kind of nerds in their basement building shit mentality that I love. It's not about that anymore. It's everybody I know is like printing things for their 3D printer, because you buy a 3D printer, but then it's not stable, so you print a better 3D printer, and like watching that, the madness of the people who are in that community. I have this feeling that I used to feel back when I'd see people building computers and stuff. They're using AR in a few industries to assist workers. I'll tell you, my old coworker Damian was like, they invented some kind of universal arm thing that it would train to do various tasks in a factory. And they rolled it out into all these factories in China. And his job was to design the interface that the people, basically you would be like computer, and it would like look at you with its little tablet face, and then you would show the computer what you wanted it to do, like what you wanted to pick up and move over and, you know, whatever. And then the robot would mimic you, and you would score it based on how well it was doing and stuff. And that was like, that's Damian's job. He just left there recently. But he was working on the interface, like how to help people interface with this robot better. I have to get it. It was the most fucked up thing ever, because it had his job was to make the robot seem friendly, and he would do things like make the tablet, like he drew a smiley face on the tablet, and he'd have it like look at you for no reason. Like he had the tablet didn't have a camera on it, and the camera was on what you were doing. But the tablet would look at you, at your face, so that you knew that it was watching you, so that you would feel like it was paying attention to you. So a lot of it was actually helping the people understand when the robot was learning from you and shit. Oh god, it's like such a weird world, man. Hey, Lesson, I'm glad you're having fun, man. Jibo? No, it was something you've never heard of. It's like an industrial device. It's not like Boston Dynamics. They're not tweeting shit out. They're just working the crap you don't see that's just going on in factories and stuff. You know, kinda, but without the googly eyes. Actually, yeah. It was similar to that when I saw it. Very similar. This might be it. Oh, wow. The googly eyes really do make it, though. I have to give it to you. It was very similar to that. Oh, man. I should have shown that to Damian. If only he knew. All it needed was Google Eyes. Affiliate partly atomic. Where did you used to work? Google Glass could have been called Google Eyes. If only. Yeah. I know, but the Boston Dynamics, I hate them because they're primary. Most of the time when they're tweeting out their dog robot thing. And it's cute, and I can't hate the dog. And they've got ones where they're like, hold on. There's ones where like the dog is being harassed. But like, is this the one? I know the dog can open doors, but they've got ones where they're like resistance training the dog. See, they're like fucking with the dog. Look at it. It's trying so hard to open the door. And these guys just like, no. Like fighting it and look at this. This is cruelty. This is how it starts, man. You do that. It's trying to learn. He knows now. He's scared. He's scared the human's gonna come. They harass the robots in every video. Yeah, I know. I know why they do it. It's important. But this is how we die. Because they're doing this kind of shit. I don't know, man. In the world where it's us v Spot, I want Spot to win. That thing's adorable. If it looked humanoid, I would care for it way less. Probably says something bad about me as a human. I'm gonna turn on us all. Assassinations are unstoppable. We're gonna manage to simulate a human brain. You know, I'm way more skeptical that we're anywhere near doing that. We understand so little about the brain. Brain surgery is like guess and check at this point. Like, I don't know. I still think that's in the realm of sci-fi. Though, I mean, I don't study that stuff. We still haven't done a brain transplant yet. Like they were gonna do a head transplant. I looked it up the other day. They never went around to doing it. We've never taken a brain out of a human body. We're not even close. We don't understand anything about the brain. Do you feel bad using a computer? No, because I don't feel like the computer is trying to do a task and I'm harming it. God damn it. What have I forgotten to do here? The whole head transplant business was a stunt to promote a video game? That's not true. I remember when this made the news. I am ignorant to the idea of digital harm, Leonard. Hey, Stay Thirsty, what's up, man? But yeah, I don't think they ever went through with the head transplant. Or everybody was reporting that it was inevitable and that it was coming soon, and then nobody reported when it happened, which would imply that it didn't go well. Hey Slacky, it's going slowly but surely. I'm doing some monotonous shit today. I didn't feel like working anymore, so I thought I'd stream, because then at least I'd work a little. I am in the very monotonous process of taking all of the disparate static meshes I've clumped together in the editor, exporting them to FBXs, bringing them back into the editor, and just setting up the pipelines so the modelers can work. So it's just kind of like a slow day. Oh, the server info. That's an excellent question. And I'm tech support for my audio guy right now, who just happened to ping me right after I started streaming. So I feel bad. I'm 18 different kinds of distracted right now. I still kind of think Perforce is magic. I still kind of think the internet is magic. There was a comedian earlier that I was listening to, and he's like, if I was sent back in time, I wouldn't be able to convince them I knew anything, because I'd be like, yeah, in the future we have the internet. And they'd be like, how does it work? And I'd be like, I don't know. It's kind of how I feel. That's actually exactly how I feel. So the center is, where was it again? Here. The internet is a series of tubes. Yeah, I'm about as stupid as a politician. I should run. I remember seeing the internet for the first time in 1990 and how cool it was. Being able to just FTP stuff from across the country. Yeah. You know, the weird thing is I feel like I've gotten stupider with that. Anytime I want to file, and I want to move it between computers, I'll email it to myself. And I feel like that's the dumbest imaginable thing. Maybe, like, at a minimum, I should put it in, like, a Google Drive. I feel like we used to be more efficient in just that one specific way. The fact that they thought out a nodal system to transmit data. The fact that the internet is a thing that we're all working on, like there's some shadowy force that I guess controls how the internet, I don't know how this actually works, obviously. But the fact that it works globally and nobody's really, like you'll get some countries will lock down their internet in certain ways, but for the most part, everybody's agreed to be on the same internet across the world is a pretty stellar achievement. I don't know if we realized the internet was going to be such a big deal, I bet we never would have done that. Like, I bet government agencies would have locked it down sooner. I bet we'd be living in a different world. What is this again? How did you choose to have a free rotating camera rather than a fixed or guided? Do you have design tricks to help people who forget to rotate the camera? I'll show you in just a minute. Yoktipi. And how China splintered. Yeah, I started that sentence and then remembered that some people do censor it, but they're still censoring the internet, which is one contiguous thing, which is pretty impressive. Pakistan took down YouTube for the whole world by accident? And I have to see that. Yeah, Slacky. Somebody was explaining to me how easy it would be for the government to just make Bitcoin not happen if they really put their minds to it. Largely just by taking down the internet in that way. Okay, so your question was about the camera. Here's how it works, because it's not entirely free, right? If I'm using, so I can use Q and E to rotate by 90 degrees. I need to keep the camera always kind of aimed in the one of four directions, right? So that, because if you move to somewhere like here, it's really unclear what happens when you hit WASD. Like, should D right now move you forward like that way or this way, right? So the camera is locked. Even when you're in free camera, you can't move. And the second you let go of the camera, it'll hover to the closest quadrant, basically. That's how I set it up. And that was just through a series of experimentation. I'm trying to find who asked me that. Yoktipi. That was kind of what I settled on. Same thing with the controller. I haven't really tuned this much, but the bumpers will rotate you 90 degrees around the character. You can use the thumbstick to kind of push if you want to look around. But the second you let go of the thumbs, you can't move when you do that. And the second you let go, you snap to a cardinal direction. Series of experimentation in tubes. Everything is tubes. One thing I'm getting only when I Pi, but not in a standalone, like if I play the game, if I package a build, I don't get this choppiness. But in Pi, when I'm mouse moving, I get this weird choppiness when I'm doing free look with a mouse. And I find it Like I went down a rabbit hole for a while trying to figure out what was causing that, and I couldn't repro it in a packaged build. Are there puzzles where you need to see the front and back? Yes. So like, for the most part, let's see, what's a really complicated puzzle? The most complicated puzzles are going to be the combo ones, right? And some of these I need to pull the camera out a little bit more. I don't really have it figured out. Like for here, especially because I broke everything right now, you can see from the lights she can move to any of these locations. Euler can move kind of like here. Wow, I need to work on this. I can free cam around, and there's times when I need to be able to free cam around. For this, I don't really have this figured out, to be honest. I think I need to pull the camera out quite a bit more, among other things. But yeah, there's definitely times when you need to rotate around. And if you're doing a game like this, I recommend thinking about what you don't want is to build a level that's like a bowl. What you want to do is build a level that's more like a pyramid whenever possible, so that you're not moving between high peaks that obstruct you. The vast majority treated the internet like a toy and then got swallowed up by it a few years later. Yeah. Print journalism. Oh, Tassan, it's a reference to a famous meme from a while back, several years ago. One of our politicians in Congress in America was describing the internet, and he's like, back when we were talking about net neutrality, he's like, most people think the internet is like a big truck. It's a big truck, but it's not a big truck. It's a series of tubes. And everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This guy looked like he must have been somewhere around 70 or 80, and he's trying to describe the internet. It was fucking hilarious. There was another thing, I shouldn't admit this, but I got a real kick out of it. The other day I was listening to an Ezra Klein episode where this lady was describing 4chan. And they're both very serious, and they're both like trying to understand what is trolling and how this led to Trump. And she's describing trolls, and she's describing how trolling began from just like as a journalist. And she's like, yeah, and on 4chan they have this currency. This was before likes. This was back then they would just do things for the lulz. The lulz is like a social currency. And these young men, they would go out and they would try to get a rise out of people in order to get lulz, in order to gain status in their community. And I'm just listening to this and I'm fucking dying. It was the funniest fucking thing. I mean, it's accurate, I suppose. But there's just something about it. I think because they were taking it so seriously, it just killed me. No, I mean, she was never wrong. And it did, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've been progressing in a very bad way. Like, if you start watching something on YouTube, it is true, this is studied, will show you exactly what you're watching, but more extreme. And then a more extreme version and a more extreme version. And this is part of like why we're so polarized, but it's part of everything. Like if you watch, if you're watching skateboarding tricks, you'll be like, oh, that's neat. Oh, that's even cooler. Oh my God, holy shit, I didn't even know you could do that. Like no matter what, it's always pushing you to the most hardcore imaginable thing. Which really explains a lot about society today. I feel like everything's becoming crazier and more polarized. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. She was in this episode with Ezra Klein, she's like, these journalists would call me because I was the one that was embedded in the 4chan community, and I understood them, and they would ask for things like, they would ask me for advice on these young men that would go to Facebook and troll grievance, whatever, like people who would, they would go on Facebook and find people who would grieve multiple times every time somebody like died, and they would harass those people. And reporters would call her and be like, oh, I want to write a story on this. And she'd be like, don't. You're just feeding the trolls. You have to not feed the trolls. And she's saying this so earnestly. It was pretty good. I had a pretty good laugh. Yeah. You got pulled into the mountain biking world and now you love that shit. I mean, it's cool for some things. It's cool to like get that. It's cool to be inspired. It's bad to be radicalized, I suppose. Though I feel like that's a term people use. Anytime you just want to piss somebody off, you call them whatever they are but radical. I feel like we should just own that now. We should just be like, you're a radical Dasan is a radical mountain biker. I'll say that's true, Tanishian. Like, I feel like I'm always 2 videos from Joe Rogan no matter what I do. And the second you watch a Joe Rogan video, it's like the gateway drug into all that shit. Like, so at any given moment, I'm 5 videos from the most alt-right thing imaginable. YouTube does seem to pull me in that direction. I don't know why. I'm making a 3D Sokoban. I was doing fixed perspective with 45-degree yaw, but non-puzzle gamers would always ask how they could see the back or the whole puzzle. I see. So the first thing is, I would love to see what you're working on, because I obviously have a lot of opinions about 3D Sokoban games at this point. So I would love to help you out in any way, man. And I highly recommend you join Draknek's Discord. But, yeah, I've done some experimentation with cameras. I will say, I've been playtesting it, and I'll always take and use FreeCam constantly, and nobody else will. Most people will not turn the camera to the degree, like if I could go back and do it again, I would have several of my starting puzzles start with the camera around back so that they were forced to turn the camera. Like if I could go back and do it again, I think I would actually do that. I almost want to force people to, like every other puzzle, force them to rotate the world at this point, because they just don't. And if you can train them, I don't think you need FreeCam, because I don't think people appreciate it really, and it's a lot of work. I think you could get away with just like discrete 4 sides, and setting your angle carefully and making sure your art works for that. I think that's actually probably a better way to go. Just because FreeCam's a much bigger pain in the ass. I don't know if it'll be worth it or if people will appreciate what a pain in the ass it was. Where else am I gonna go with this? But you were doing it fixed entirely. So in that point you have several options, right? Like you can draw your characters and you can draw things through the world, like with a ghost shadow, but I feel like you're not gonna be able to see the board unless you can rotate. I know I want to amend what I said earlier. It's possible if you set your camera up right, if it's fixed and not to the character but to the world, you could build a level that's like a bowl or a level that's like a pyramid, but what you don't want is to have a world where, because of the fixed perspective, especially if you don't have the ability to rotate the camera, it's difficult to see. Like if you have a tower, it's difficult to sense depth. How do I explain it? Depending on what you do with your camera, you're gonna have to do different things with the art and the level design. There's gonna be advantages and disadvantages here. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. How trolling led to Trump. Yeah. Radical puzzle devs break from the gridding traditions. One of my favorite things was when tactics games broke off the grid very briefly, and I think the first one I played that was like that was Phantom Brave, when it was moving a circumference instead. And you saw more of that with Valkyria Chronicles, I think, moved in that direction as well. So maybe there's a fucking Sokoban that's on a grid. Don't judge. It's possible. Mobile companies would love me. Well, you gotta... Yeah, it's hard to get people to move the camera. I don't know how else to put it. It's not a solved problem, and there's just certain problems I'm not going to be able to fix with this game because I need to launch it this year, and I can't spend 10 years in a game, so the next game will be better. This game will be pretty damn good too. I'm just saying the next game will be even better. I'm just saying there's trajectories here. But yeah, I have regrets. Well, there's at least 3 of these. Stay thirsty. Got a whole story arc going up here. Might be DLC. I don't know. I might roll into the next game. I don't know yet. I don't know exactly where dual quad fits into this. Quad's got to deal with some struggles. I won't spoil the rest. It's gonna get good. Alright. What were we doing? We were replacing this level. T-992. We won't go into it. Stay thirsty. Quad's got a dark side. I don't know where I'm going to fit that one in. I might do DLC. Depends how I'm feeling after this one. If this game tanks, I might just be sad for a while. And then I'll go back to making shit. Or I'll be broke. I don't know. This could go in a lot of directions. I think I have enough money to make games for the next 2 or 3 years. Regardless. So I should pump out at least one more. Or I should burn it all on this one. I don't know. Probably not though. I won't. Alright, what am I doing? Right. I just brought that in. Shadow, make sure you don't have collision. Bam. All right, let's update our overmap. Ah, I can't see anything. Attract mode. Like arcade cabinets that slowly rotates the camera while you're sitting there stuck. It'd be like a hint that doesn't feel like a hint. This is something that you're thinking about adding, Yacht P? Dude, I'm into it. I would love to see what you're working on, by the way. If you're not in, the only Discord I really hang out in is Draknex. So if you're not in it, you should get in it and post every now and then. Everybody else in here. Basically, if you're making a Sokoban game, you probably want to hang out in this, because this seems to be where people are. Hold on. If you ever want to post questions or pictures or whatever, the community there is really, really supportive. But yeah, hint systems are not quite something I figured out either. I just made a game easy enough that you probably don't need it, at least to get through the main stuff. Anything that was extremely difficult, I pushed off into a different, like a side quest kind of area. And you don't get hints for that, because that would be hard. Okay, so I opened this up for a reason. So I'm gonna call you. Stream is open on your PC and the chat's open on your phone. Honestly, I don't even think that's meta. I think that's actually part of the future, and I think that's one of the... Alright, I'm excited about streaming. And there's some stuff I couldn't talk about before, but like I am really, really excited about streaming for video games for several reasons. And one of them is I think it opens up a lot of interesting design possibilities once you can have a game that plays across multiple devices. You can have your input device be your phone, and you're watching the output on the TV. The ability to make any phone into a controller for multiplayer games. In general, the ability to like... the ability to round robin games. There's so many simple things that are going to come out of streaming I'm talking streaming like what Microsoft is working on and what Google's working on, not like Twitch streaming. Though that's cool too. I just think there's a lot of really interesting crap coming out of this. Just because it's such a simple, innocuous thing, and everybody's thinking about the tech challenges of it and stuff. And everybody's thinking about the... So when you talk to different people, most people are excited with the idea of having like a game like Assassin's Creed, for instance, that you can play even though you don't have the top-end computer. And to me, that's nowhere near as exciting as the ability to be instantly playing a game the way that we talked about in Silicon Valley back in the day. The ability to have a game embedded in cloud gaming. The ability to have a game embedded in a browser. To eliminate your funnel, which is something everybody in free-to-play has always known is like the biggest problem. Getting somebody to install the game. I honestly think that alone is huge. There's downsides to it. The streaming stuff is going to require a very fast internet connection. It's probably not going to be a global thing for quite a while. I think there's a lot of really scary technical hurdles there, especially for, like, obviously Amazon Web Services has to host, like, the tech hit to the server farms are going to be intense. Not everybody needs to be on fiber. You don't need internet that good. You just need decent internet. I don't think it'll work for games that are... I think people are aiming at the wrong thing right now. Like, I'm a little bit sad Google's focusing on things like Assassin's Creed. I think it would be smarter to focus on just new experiences that you can only get by having a game that's running in the cloud. If you want some kind of, like, killer app to push your feature, your product. Or... I don't want to... I do know too much, so I can't, like, say too much more than that. But I think there's a lot that could be done there for these different streaming platforms. I'm really excited to see what Microsoft does. They have such a combination of cool shit going on right now, and they've said, like, I just have no visibility. I'm hoping they're secretly going to do something fucking amazing. I've got a lot of hope. You can leverage web workers and caching. Yeah, I played the Assassin's Creed demo. I saw visual artifacting because I was looking for it. I wouldn't say the gameplay lagged. You could definitely tell they did some tricks with the UI when you're in the menus, though, for the lag. If you were looking for it, you could find it. But I feel like if you're going to play a game that's very twitchy, you're going to download it. I don't feel like that's the right use case, personally. And I think the end game for streaming has never been, what do you call it? I don't think the end game for streaming is cable. I suspect it's 6G, 7G, 8G. I think it's gonna be, you know, mobile streaming someday. Probably. Not yet. But again, now we're talking about the future in a big way, right? And from everything I've heard, just 6G is a shit show. So maybe not yet. 2021. Well, I mean, yeah, I looked for the artifacts. And I thought, like, because this is going to be the future, so you should spend some time thinking about it, right? Like, what is the right art style for something that's streamed? Obviously, no thin red lines. What kind of artifacting are we seeing right now? A lot of it depends on what kind of algorithm these different services end up using. Someday, 6 years from now, when all games are streaming, I will be giving a talk about our findings and how to make an art style that works best for streaming. Like, I think this is so much the future. I believe in it. So it's worth thinking about. My buddy just moved back into town from Austin, and he sold his company to Google. He founded a company called Alchemy Labs back in the day. Made a job simulator and Rick and Morty VR. Sold his company to Google. Slowly lost his mind, and he's just moved back to Boston to start his next company. And he's like, could not give less of a fuck about the streaming stuff. How to train your AI to render in that art style? Yeah, that's true. I won't be the one to figure it out. We'll put machine learning on it. Ugh. Also, probably the blockchain technology. I don't really understand blockchain. But I was told by a very smart individual that if the government wanted to, they could completely shut blockchain down because they explained the internet to me in the process and I understood it and then immediately forgot. So, but I believe it is probably true. He was explaining on why he thinks it's stupid that people don't pay their taxes on their wallets. There's a lot of people who are super into blockchain right now. I don't know if you've noticed. And I hang out with a lot of nerds, so I talk to them. And some of them, they're talking a lot about how to wash their wallets, and I needed to understand what the fuck they were talking about. But I guess, like, the government is having difficulty taxing some people who are a little bit less scrupulous with their bitcoins. Now I sound like that dumb bitch on Never mind. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm saying words I've heard. Oh, stay thirsty. I think that's the VR AR stuff is really, really cool. I just think it's too much of a jump and a hop, and I see so many simple, easy wins out of the streaming game stuff. It's stupid we still have to pay taxes actively. Taxes should be ingrained in the system. There's too many complications that could go wrong, and people in trouble just in the name of confusion. I don't know, maybe. I mean, if we move towards a workforce that's entirely mobile and people are moving around to wherever moving their money to wherever it's smart, then I mean, there's ramifications for this stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this. I will say this, though. Back, like, I remember 2 weeks before Puerto Rico got fucked with the hurricane, I was talking to my significant other, and I was like, maybe I should make a game, and then right before I ship, we could just move to Puerto Rico for a while, because they pay no taxes. And then I'll just, you know, after 2 or 3 years, come back. It'd be like a nice tropical vacation because the amount of money we'll save by not paying taxes. And, you know, you're giving money to the... You could frame it as a protest, right? Because we refuse to accept Puerto Rico as a state. We refuse to give them representation, which is why we don't tax them as much. And you could say that we did it for hippie liberal reasons. That we just wanted to, you know, support the local economy of Puerto Rico. In reality, it's just a giant tax haven in a tropical area. But then now that's obviously kind of out. What with weather being what it is. You think that's all? You can move. There's nothing to stop somebody from moving to Puerto Rico. That's not illegal at all. And in the games industry, if you ship a game every couple years, why not spend the year where you make most of your revenue somewhere where you don't pay any taxes? I'm pretty sure that's not illegal. Yeah. I'll tell you what drives me nuts is I hate that we don't just say, put sales tax, embed that in the price. I forgot who said that on Twitter, but that is dumb that we don't do that in America. I find that dumb. When I describe this video on YouTube, it's going to be watch me do no work and just bitch about the economy and the government. It'll be fun. We'll see how much. Then somebody will watch it on YouTube And then 2 videos later, they'll be watching Joe Rogan. And then 2 videos later, they'll be in MRA stuff. I like the way you think, but I also like electricity and shelter. True. Yeah. Well, I came up with this plan before Puerto Rico got, you know, wrecked. I do like that Silicon Valley just systemic, like, just gets around the laws right now. Like, Bitcoin is definitely, like, we don't know how to legislate it. I don't, at least. Apparently, the government is trying to tax them. I don't even know anything about that. I don't know if it counts. Like, I'm so far removed from that world. I don't know if it's a commodity or a currency at this point, as far as the government cares. It is, but you have to pay taxes on it. In the same way that if you own stock and the stock increases in value, you pay taxes on the stock, right? Or if you, I mean, I imagine there's other examples too. To which country? Well, to the one you live in. I mean, if you live in America and you own some amount of, I don't know, fucking Google, and the Google stock price goes up, you pay taxes on that. Oh, I guess you pay taxes on your dividends that you get distributed, huh? I don't have a lot of money, Leonard. Definitely talking about my ass right now. This is just my understanding of shit. Are those men radicalized? Just stay thirsty. Yes. Social currency known as lulz. It's radicalizing the men. My god, I was dying. I should probably take this stuff more seriously. Alright, so what was I doing? Good god. Right. Let me save this file before I look at the chat again. Oh, well, that's not right at all. Son of a bitch. $4,800, $8,600. Where did you go? There you are. No, got something wrong. This one's supposed to be negative. This one's supposed to be positive. Nope, still not right. No, don't delete. Oh, everything about this is fucked. Should be called T-bot. That's what happens when you don't focus. Friendship prices fluctuate with the market. I bet Silicon Valley has made something where you can like take your friends like Facebook, but you rate them like with a star system or something, and you can probably chart like your value in some sort of friendship currency or some shit. I feel like there should be something around this already. Something where like you're graded as a human in some way. I feel like that probably exists in the world. All right, so if I take you, oh, you're actually correct. Huh. Really? Neat. I'll admit that's surprising. You want to? I don't want to. I'm just saying that probably exists. Kind of like karma, maybe, yeah. Karma, though, I feel like you're rating how well you've served the community, though I suppose it could be the same thing. Credit score. Yeah, well, that's your value to banks and institutions like that. That's true. Yeah, all right. We do have this. Oh, social credit score. In China? Is that really a thing? In China? Hold on, now I need to know. Oh yeah, I'm gonna find a podcast on this tomorrow. This is like how likely you are to disobey the government or something, right? Okay, so this is for credit. All right. Holy crap. Oh, this is horrifying. It's like grading your value as a citizen. Oh, weird. that's so much creepier. Some might think the government shutdown was step one. I don't know, man. I feel like you have to have a functioning government if you're going to be running systems like this. I feel like shutting down the government's a way to move further from this. For fuck's sake. Oh right, I'm missing the other part of the equation. So what should have happened, I think, is actually I don't remember what I'm supposed to do here. Just to nuke it from orbit and start over. Where are you and are you? Later, Major Tempa. It's gauge to how much we can work as a socialist society. Working but for free. I don't think that's what that was. I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah. I mean, you gotta keep in mind, like, my mother, my father, my brother, my aunt, my uncle, my aunt, like my aunt-in-law, all work for the government and were impacted by this in various ways. So I'm pretty, it would be difficult for me to be in any way unbiased about the conversation about the government shutdown. It's a little too personal. I was displeased with how long that dragged on. You know, it's fine. It's whatever. Like we all knew. Oh, whatever. It's not over yet. Plundered is the other thing. And in a way, like they're fine. They're well enough off that like they could not work for a while and it'd be fine. And they're all getting back pay, so it's cool. Mostly, I think, with the exception of my brother, they all still had to work. Or I'm sorry, how did it go? Everybody worked. Most of my family is essential personnel, so they were paid even though they were working. Yeah. What's crazy, Plundered, isn't just that. It's that, like, you know, you say that, but even in my own family, the divide is so sharp on the perspective of whose fault it is that the government is shut down and what should happen. Like, we've become extraordinarily polarized right now. Even people who are affected by this are affected for different reasons. Or I'm sorry, even the people who are affected by this don't agree on why and what the solution is. What are we doing here? Besides talking about politics. Yeah, I fucked up this file pretty royally. Let's take a look at the overworld. It's gonna be almost certainly borked. Take to space. All right there, Elon Musk. It's one way. Just get the fuck out. What's my solution here? I can just set this in this file. Come on. Common goals unify people. You know, I actually knew a guy that worked for one of the clandestine services, and it was like a tech job. His job was to look at satellite images and guess roughly where I think it was the Russians were, like technically and stuff. Back in the day, this is back 10, 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. He was older than me at the time. He was like a friend of the family kind of deal. But I remember talking to him and he was like, God, you know what we need is, we really, really needed another Cold War. Like, and he worked for like the CIA, and he's like, God, I just wish we could have another Cold War. Not a real war, a Cold War. Just to get people rallied together, you know? Like, just to get people investing in technology again. We make so many amazing leaps in technology. If we could just get everybody good and ready, like if we could just get into another Cold War. And he was saying this, and I'm just sitting here, like in high school, horrified that there's people in our government that think these kind of things. The Dems apparently want to work on an improved border security, just not a stupid wall. Yeah. Yeah, Tanishian. It's pretty well known that a concrete wall will make us less secure. But if anything, there's places where a fence would make the most sense. But if we put up a concrete wall, it would actually block our infrared cameras and set our current existing satellite system in such a way where it would weaken our security in the border. That's a part of the conversation that doesn't seem to come into the press very much. But it comes up every now and then. And people are like, yeah, but you know. The Cold War ended because we don't invest quite like we used to, Leonard. I'm really glad I don't live in DC anymore. That place is a vortex of madness. Oh, God. This is why I make video games. The wall can't stop Bugs Bunny, nothing can. I don't even think the infrared cameras can. I think there was a whole thing on that, if I recall. Are there still players in the Cold War? Yeah, well, I'm sure. One of the things about American politics is if you're American, you're mostly obsessed with American politics and you kind of forget about the rest of the world. Which is, these days, I don't know how you could focus on anything else other than, if you're American, just the American politics are just non-stop all day, every day. There's just not enough focus in the human brain for more than that. Barely enough for that. You're never supposed to talk about politics. You know that, right? If you want to be friendly. If you want to win friends and influence people. Who has the energy for that? Where did I even just export that to? What's that? 11B. What did I do wrong? Alright, you guys. And it's weird. Shadow should be off. Yep, we're good there. We're good there. Okay. To get all of the accordion levels. No, not this one. Whoops. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, yeah, I don't need that. $3,600, $8,600. Oh, I guess I could just do this. And then do this. these. Right. Save this as teapot 5. Export teapot 5. Bring in not you or you, but the rest of you. Replace this with one stack mesh. Alright, I'm going to want to edit this one. But first, I've been doing something wrong here. That goes there. Blotch goes there. Line goes there. And wall, floor goes there. Alright, so this is tricky. I don't want this to... I can't have these penetrate anymore with the new art style. But I want to put something there so that the artist knows I need an invisible wall. So I'm going to do this. I'm gonna make a corner and explain that using my words. Why is that like that? Just is, doesn't need to be. Awesome. Sorry, I was finally working, so I haven't been talking as much. I'm glad. Thanks for checking it out, man. You've been in this before, right? Like, I seem to remember you being in here. Awesome, crazy. Epic's been really cool. They included, like, they had a trailer. They didn't tell me they were doing this. They put together various games that won the Unreal Dev Grant. And they made a trailer of our games, like, showing 1 second each, and they showed it for the Global Game Jam. So, at the beginning of the Global Game Jam, everybody got to see Kine, which was pretty sweet. Feels good, man. Right. Yeah, did you miss it, Blender? Everyone I know has been talking about it. What am I forgetting? You have your tags. Do you cast a shadow? No. Do you have collision? Collision. Turn it off. Does that mean I have all of the accordion levels in both places? What's this hole? What are you? Ah, yes. I see. Wasn't it big on Twitch and stuff? I assume so. I actually didn't watch any Twitch this weekend. I went down. Comedians on YouTube was the theme of this weekend. Right. Any friend that pulls you into the global game jam isn't a true friend. I've never done one of those. I should do one probably. When I don't have a game I'm making, I will do one of those. I know a guy in Boston that's got like 2 kids, a day job, and even he's finding time to do like a 6-hour game. Kind of makes me feel guilty. But Caroline is not going to make itself. No, you will be accordion. T-bot. Also, are you center? Yes. You're also center. Good. Tags. I have to add the tags so that the system I have that detects, like, it finds out where the center of a mesh is and determines if that mesh is blocking the camera and lowers it by a given Z height based on the mesh. And all that's relying on this tag being correct. So I have to set that. Someday this will all be pretty art. This will all be worth it. I could have done that plenard, it just wound up being too... I tried a bunch of different things. Partly it was too expensive. It was really cheap if I removed collision on everything. Partly I just got the result I wanted. I tried different things until I got the result I wanted. And what I liked the most was as you were free camming, things kind of stayed where they were. Things weren't blinking in and out. And then as soon as you dropped the camera, it would detect, it would basically draw a cube out from the center of the level that you're looking at to, yeah, towards the camera, and anything that was in that cube it would hide. That's what I ended up with, and I liked it. Yeah, and as soon as it detects it needs to hide something, it plays the animation to lower one and plays the animation to raise a different one. And the amount it raises and lowers depends on the Z height of the world, of the object. And in order to get the Z height of the object, I need to, well, there could be, especially before when there was many static meshes that all needed to raise and lower together as if they were one level, I had to have a tag that would say, these are all, this is a clump, right? Like this is part of this clump. Otherwise, some meshes would raise and lower, but I want them to, an entire level to raise and lower, never just a part of the level, right? So I had to kind of clump things up, and that's why I had to use tags. And now I'm still using tags. I guess I don't really need to, but it's just kind of legacy. The tagging system is not a pain at all. Like, not even a little. That is the least amount of work of all of this crap. Forgot to delete history. But yeah, now I have a Maya file that looks like the world and matches the game. I mean, for the tagging system, more automation would be better. Yeah, I wish. I mean, I tried to think of a way to clump things together. I could have parented them. I thought about doing that. That would have been one way. I can't simply query all of the various meshes that are a part of a level, which is my initial hope. The next best thing would have been to come up with a group or a parenting hierarchy, which if I do it again, I'll just do it as I'll probably do it as a parent. That makes the most sense. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I didn't do that in the beginning. But it was so easy to just tag everything, and it worked out, so I just kept doing it. And like I said, now it's legacy. Plus the tagging system let me do things like have sections of levels that show, so like this part, you'll see this is 2 tags, because if this level is lowered, but this one isn't, it stays. Whereas basically this will stay around if either one of them is not lowered. Also, this needs to be bright, this part of the level, this corner needs to be brightly lit, whether this level is loaded or this level is loaded. So being able to tag something as being part of 2 levels was useful. I could still do dynamic animations. There's nothing stopping that. The tagging system is more for so that the material system knows what counts as part of a level. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I'm fading, guys. It could be contained in an actor instance. Yeah, absolutely. It would have been cleaner. But now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. The ability to tag something as being, like, there's certain specific static meshes that are a fraction of 3 different levels, where if any of those 3 levels are loaded, it needs to be brightly lit. And so using the tagging system was really convenient for things like that. Where I could say, you are a part of these 3 levels. And I'm not sure how I would do that if I was just parenting everything under a specific actor. Speaking of which, this is not the center, so it's not good. So yeah, like this is a part of these 2 levels, but is not a center. Whereas this is a center. So this is the position to, this static mesh is the one that it uses for determining the position and the Z height and stuff. Yeah. And before, when this was composed of many, many actors, that was even more important. Alright. This was fun. I think I'm gonna start checking things in a Perforce and then troll Reddit for the rest of the night. Yeah, Wesley, that's basically what I did. I just needed a way to tag it to tell it which levels to load with. And I'm overloading the word levels here. I'm talking about levels as in, like, as far as gameplay goes, whereas levels, as far as streaming levels that Unreal is concerned with, is a different concept. So now I'm worried I'm just confusing people. Oh, maybe I should keep going. I don't know. How close am I? What do I get done? Did I get all of the accordion levels? Maybe it's Reddit. Everybody's got to have a way to wind down, man. True. I could have clumped them and then tagged the parrot. At that point, I still have a tagging system, and now I don't need to do that at all because there's no multiple meshes. Anything that was a part of a tag is now a level. So I've got all of the accordion levels. No, I'm missing one. Let's get the last one. Let's end it. That'll feel nice and final. I'm missing this one. Where's my script? A lot of sorts. I'm already worried about stuff. Yeah, okay. What are you? T.082. Ah. Wind down with a 24-hour stream. I don't know, once you hit your zen place of crunching where you're anytime you're awake you're working for 24 hours does not actually help you at all. Though I'm not working anytime I'm awake right now, by definition, because I was just talking about winding down on Reddit. I already just did the export. Come on, brain. One last level. Fatal error. Wah, wah. So I gotta reopen my wind down on Stack Overflow. That sounds like a good time. I think Stack Overflow might be a little over my head. Levels. T-bot. No, you're not the one I was working on. 082. None of the above. It doesn't exist yet. That's right. Yeah, that was way over my head. Okay, I get it. It was funny. I assume it was funny. I don't actually get it. Oh no, I lost that script arrow because we fatal errored. God damn it. Wait, before you do that, figure out the level center. Where is the level center? Really? Right there, huh? I need to rewrite that script. This reminds me, when we were crunching it irrational, at the very end of the project, we had spent all this time making all these procedural things so that the artist could lay down like arcs for where the roads would be, and they could procedurally grow and shrink the buildings, and the right number of windows would pop up and everything. And at the very end, it was just like, okay, turns out we can't do this for performance reasons. We need to make absolutely all of this static meshes, and specifically this one guy hung, just crunched, worked like a dog, was like in the most mindless crap, which was taking absolutely every piece of road in the game, exporting it as a static mesh, optimizing it, bringing it back into the game just to fix the performance problem over and over for like a month. Dude was a trooper. I feel like environment artists always get fucked in the end. I'll go over to XR. Oh, we'll host it XRA after this. Stack Overflow isn't a good dating website. What am I reading? Just bake what? I mean, there was no easy way to bake it. We had competent people. If there was a way to do it procedurally, we would have. It was just, it needed a human touch in the end. Like, obviously we exported it as a static mesh. We tried Simplygon and various things like that, and sometimes he would do that and it would work, but a lot of times it didn't, and you had to check every single one. I mean, it was, yeah, there's just, you need to double check the work, Leonard. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't on the environment team. I just watched this happen. Like, it wasn't like we had him recreate it from scratch. We gave him the static mesh. He had different options he could try for exporting it. There was different reasons too. Like, at first, he had to experiment with different ways to make the roads stream in and out. There was just a lot involved. And when you reach the end of a project like that, you just need somebody to buckle down and get it done. I mean, at the end of the day, 1 month of his time, like, even just crunching, because he was crunching real hard to get it done, but like, you're talking about 1 man month on a project that's millions and millions of dollars. We had the best in the industry working on that team. I have every confidence if there was a way to do it, like they did it, they definitely optimized for the quickest way that would definitely work. I'll put that. Yeah, not me. I wasn't on that team, Pro Puke. I was on characters. So they didn't have me, but they had the best. Show. Where are we? I don't think we will, though. What are you called again? 082. Oops, shit, what the fuck? It's definitely great. Right. Shadow. Do not cast. Your collision. I will be checking all this later. But no collision. Oh man, XRA finished? Hey dude, what's up? I was just about to host you. Damn it. Well, maybe we'll dual host somebody, because I am kind of tired. Just feel like poor taste to leave right after being hosted. Let's take a look at this. There's the soundboard. It's filling in, guys. It's getting there. Slowly but surely. Yeah, I think I'm pooped. Yeah. That's okay. I don't think anybody from XRE's thing stuck around. If they did, they're probably AFK. I've never seen his... I'm trying to think if I've ever caught him live. I don't think I've ever caught XRE live. Oh, you did? Hey, Subsage. I'm sorry, man. glad you like it. You did catch me at right when I was about to host him. He just sniped me. Subsage, it's up to you then. Tell us, who should we host next? Do you have somebody? See if I know anybody in. I don't know anybody in line.
First loss in the winners bracket. He's gonna be dropping down to the losers bracket. We're gonna have one final 3 out of 5 for Dragon Ball Fighters. One more 3 out of 5, so about maybe an hour of gameplay left for Dragon Ball time. You guys know how long that takes. It's gonna be, I'm sure, down to the wire. Kazunoko slipping up a little bit at the end here. Maybe he told him to.
Do you want me to host you Stay Thirsty? If one of you guys starts working, I will host you. But you gotta be working. Can't be letting my audience down. Alright, fair enough. You guys are all so shy. You literally watched me do like the dumbest grunt work for hours. Alright, we're gonna host a random person. I don't know any of these people, but they all have more followers than me, so it's probably fine. This one's an animator. We'll be hosting this random animator. Done. Twitch channel. It's the social dystopia conversations planner. They get you every time. Alright, I'm falling asleep. Here, we're rating this rando. Go hang out with him. Be like, or her, I don't know who it is. Be like, hey, what's up, rando? Later.